Will share.
All right.
Share will not be appearing on this show. Let's see. Put that away. Go to Technorama podcast page. And hey, look, we're live. I'm blurred out by the icon.
I was gonna say, what is that?
That's a Mike Wazowski. I'm sure if I reload this in a couple seconds, it'll come up with a better image. Yep.
Look, I'm on a podcast. Wow.
Did you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's our holograms? We don't need no stinking holograms. That's what I'm putting. Okay. Share now. Because, it's like Bullwinkle, Rocky and Bullwinkle. The title of the show means nothing. It has nothing to do with the rest of the show. Join us next time for... Check. Okay. H6 is recording. Live stream is streaming. Let's see if we get some people hanging out with us. And you ready to record?
Let's go.
Give me an audio check. I want to check your levels.
Check. Hello. What's going on?
Bring that up just a little bit. There we are. Okay.
All right.
I'm sure we'll get louder and ruckuser as the show goes on.
Please mute your phones.
Ruckuser is a term now.
Is it?
Mute your phone. How will I know if you try to text me?
I'll just tell you.
Yeah, I'm texting you now. All right.
Oh,
for 2
you
hours.
know what?
Yes.
All right. So, the other day, you, my wife, and Fred were having some issues texting me. It would give me some encryption error.
Does the other day include yesterday?
No, it shouldn't.
Okay, it does for Donna. The other day is any other day but today.
Okay. All right.
Anyway.
So the other day, as in 2 days ago? How's that? Yeah. You would try and send me a message that said it couldn't send it because of the encryption, and we were using RCS. And so last night, or I'm sorry, was it last night? Last night, I went to call Fred, and they said that no service was registered on my phone. I was like, okay. So I restarted my phone, and everything was fine. It was like it wasn't registered on the
AT&T network or
Verizon network. And so I was like, okay, so your messages would go through Verizon encrypted from your carrier and work on my phone. I think because for some reason it was disconnected.
Yeah.
That was causing the problem.
Did you try turning it off and on again?
Well, that's what I did. I know that if you ever get a new SIM, they always tell you, which is not the case here, but they always tell you restart your phone, or you get the international plan, apply to your phone and say restart your phone. And I just have a feeling that's something to do with that. Now that's the same SIM I've had since service now.
Is it a physical SIM or are you doing eSIM? Oh, it would have been physical. Okay. Yeah. My last phone, I went to eSIM.
Okay. Yeah. So I played around with Google Fi, and it has its own. It's an eSIM. You just install the app and say register as phone, and that's it. All right. I was considering breaking out my work. Like have its own phone and my personal one having my own phone. Then I get exhausted thinking, I got to tell everybody my new number.
Mm-hmm. Or you could do like the old days and just say, hey, call my Google number. It'll go where I want it to go. But I haven't used that in forever. In fact,
that's what I was using the Google Fi for. I was playing around with. I set up an account, and you can pull in your Google phone number, which I did. So, okay. So
here's my phone number. You give them a short link.
Yeah, right. Well, there's a couple of reasons why I was thinking about it. One, just keep everything separated. Two, when I go to Travel International, I got to ask somebody at ServiceNow to turn on my international phone service, and that's $100, which ServiceNow pays for that.
Yeah,
but I shouldn't have to ask for that. And I know the Google Fi don't have to. You just go. So I think I might.
Donna's going to Greece soon, so she's got to get that all set up.
I know I've heard that.
Yeah, because your wife is going too. Is that why you're looking into this international calling thing?
No, we're going to Scotland in October.
Oh, okay. After she goes to Greece in September.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's traveling all over the place, like your wife.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
But anyway, I thought it might be. I know some people at work, and they're like, "Oh, well, I've got my own another phone for work, so when I'm on vacation, I just leave it at home. I don't have to worry about."
Hey, save it for the Patreon show.
Oh, well, I guess I could talk about it there too.
We don't have any topics yet.
Yeah, that's all right.
Let's record the regular show first.
Yeah.
So here we go. This is for July 16th. Oh my gosh.
How many days until Christmas?
Not
And
enough.
Wow.
I was just thinking about that today in church. Like, what are those hooks on the wall for? Oh, it's Christmas decorations. Oh, I'll probably be setting those up next week.
Yeah.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Wait, we got to take the banner down. We're not doing the pre-show. Done. Okay, back to the chat. We have a comment.
Hello.
Sarah! Sarah's joining us. Oops, I bumped the shotgun mic. Hold on. Not that it's on. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Technorama episode 776 for July 16th, 2025. The hyperdrive is out again. Did you try turning it off and on again?
Twice.
Okay, good. And replace the batteries and reboot the Wi-Fi and turn Bluetooth off and on. That's what I've been running into, but we'll get into that later.
And stand on one leg. Raise your right hand up in the air.
I got a new one today. Wait, it's interesting what you learn when you have electronics problems, but we're not here to do that. Let's give you the quick synopsis of what are you listening to if this is your first time. My name is Chuck Tomasi, and that's Craig Stepp, and this is Technorama, the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all kinds of geeky things that we've been doing for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people can say that. Nobody can say that. That's our tagline.
Yeah, nobody can say we've been doing it.
The 20-year thing, a lot of people can claim that, but not the rest of that garbage.
Yeah, I like some of the podcasts starting to announce their 20th anniversary as well.
Yes,
a few of
them. Some of them are coming up on 21. Dave Slusher, Michael Butler. I'll be 21 in December, but Technorama itself is a few months younger. That's beside the point. There is a panel at DragonCon. Speaking of DragonCon, Craig and I will be at DragonCon with Clinton Alford and a bunch of our friends from the Dog Days of Podcasting and other podcasting realms. We would love to see you there in Atlanta, Georgia on Labor Day weekend, which is the last, I think we're getting there on August 27th this year.
Yeah.
We've got our regular comedy forecast, Technorama and Friends. We've got Topic is Trek panel, which is scheduled as TBD. We've got a couple of karaoke sessions. I'm on the 20th anniversary of the podcast / digital media track panel. We've got the parade Saturday morning. Lots of stuff happening. My task list is growing by the day. Today I added check your supplies. It was like parade makeup always seems to run dry in the off season. I got to go order some more.
It's like the little vials. They're all dried and crusted, and it doesn't.
Yeah, fake blood looks pretty bad when it's cracked. And
I hope this isn't last week's sample.
Let's just use real blood instead.
Yeah. Feels like, sometimes it feels like we're drawing real blood.
So if you are in the Atlanta area or happen to be in the Atlanta area or planning to go to DragonCon, we would love to see you. We'll be publishing our schedules on the socials pretty darn soon.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to get that last one nailed down for when are we doing the Topic is Trek? Working hard at the content for that. I cranked
out 5 a.m. on Saturday morning.
In the past 3 days, I came up with like 7 parody songs about Star Trek and AI. That's a pretty focused topic when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's a few more ideas rattling around. Not sure if we're going to get to all of them in the show or just cherry pick the best ones.
Hey, well, there's no household chores being done, but parodies are being made.
Parodies are being made. Scripts are being reviewed. Yeah, the cat is starving.
Yeah.
Good
Cat's
thing
like
he's
dragging itself to the bowl.
good thing he's on an auto feeder. I don't have to worry
The
about
water bowl's like bone dry.
Hey, if it weren't for Donna, I wouldn't be fed. Let's get on with the rest of the show, shall we? We've
Yeah.
got our feedback, especially the question of the week and a couple of other things.
Letters, oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy!
Mailman, mail today.
What do you want to start with first, Craig? Question of the week or voicemail?
Well, let's see the voicemail. Let's do the voicemail.
Okay, we got 2 voicemails. Let's play the first one.
Hey. It's Crazy Joe calling in with my review of Superman. I saw the Tuesday night screening of Superman, and it is great. It is absolutely fantastic. Am I prepared to say it's the best Superman movie ever made? Let me see it a second, third time. Let me live with it a little more before I proclaim that. But I will declare that it's, without question, the third best Superman movie ever made, if not the best, because Superman 1 and 2 with Christopher Reeve, they currently hold the top spot.
It's in the top 5.
This is the best Superman movie since Christopher Reeve, without question.
Really?
James Gunn, the dude just gets it, man. He gets it. He knows these characters like the back of his hand. The movie's got heart. The movie's got humor. It is comics accurate to a fault. Maybe that came out wrong because I can't really find a fault with the movie.
There you go. Yeah.
Very comics accurate. It's if you loved the Superman comics, especially if you were a DC Comics fan in the late 80s, early 90s, when the Keith Giffen Justice League era, this is really going to appeal to you because it definitely has that. I mean, one of the main characters from that era, Guy Gardner, is in the movie. Nathan Fillion, one of my favorite actors, playing one of my favorite Green Lanterns. My favorite Green Lantern. It's like a dream come true, man. I never thought I would see this stuff on screen.
Joe wrote this movie.
This is so good. It is so good. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm going to see it again tomorrow. So after I see it a second time and roll it around in my head, maybe I'll be prepared to declare if it's the best Superman movie ever. And it might be. It might be. Yeah, really good. Check it out. Superman.
All right. We got
Thank you,
another
Joe.
one. Do you want to comment on that or wait to hear Gary's?
Well, I'm gonna talk about my thoughts on the movie in the media corner, but
No, not in the media corner.
I'm sorry.
You do that every week. You put your notes.
Well,
in.
media corner sounds like it should belong in there, right?
The media corners are where we talk about things we are not watching, but that are on. That
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go.
I will echo a lot of what he said. I think I enjoyed the hell out of it.
What's this one? 3 minutes of transcription not available. Somebody pocket dial?
Hi, Chuck and Craig. This is Gary from Jacksonville, and I'm calling in about the latest, greatest movie that just came out. And, of course, I'm talking about Superman, period. This was just an amazing show for me. I had certain expectations, and while I can't say that they met some of them, they certainly exceeded them. The acting the acting was just amazing. Some of the people that I just never imagined would pull the role off. Lois, her character was amazing. Luther.
Hang on. Who played Lois?
Rachel Brosnahan.
And who played Luther?
Nicholas Holt.
Okay. Wow, you're on top of this.
This
Good
is
job.
probably the first time I've actually believed in a Luther in such a long time. With all respect to Mr. Hackman,
I like Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. I'm sorry. That was one.
Oh
of
yeah,
my-
of course, it's still there. I mean, you can watch it.
Otisburg.
I know. Yeah. No, I love Gene Hackman as Luther. It was great.
yeah, he was rather comedic. This Luther doesn't come off comedic. He doesn't come off mustache twirling. He just did an amazing job. Another thing about this movie that worked so well for me was that it has heart. And with not trying to start a flame war, the Snyderverse made Superman somewhat rather godlike. This Superman is far from that. Gunn has done an excellent job of grounding Clark to Earth and his humanity, and that he's not infallible and he makes mistakes and he just keeps going. I love that about this character. Also, he's hopeful, and I don't mean over the top too goofy, although it gets close at times. But there's nothing wrong with wanting better and trying to do good and help people. This movie brought that back for me for Superman. What else could I say? Some of the supporting cast, I loved some of the little bits. Jimmy Olsen's character was perfect, dead on, spot on. I can't go without talking about some of the other supporting cast, like the other superheroes we got to meet. Mr. Terrific, what a great job. There's a fight scene with him, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but just to say it was incredible.
Hang on, I gotta interrupt for a sec. Now, since you talked about Jimmy Olsen, is the Daily Planet still a newspaper, or do they go to a website now?
Well, there was a little scene, not a spoiler or anything. They were publishing an article, and you could see him on the screen. Ready for publish, click. For web, click. And it was,
There we
was
go. At least they
like 2 or 3
modernized.
little social media, click.
And did they have a Perry Mason?
Yes, Perry White.
Perry White, sorry. Perry
Yeah.
Mason. That's the wrong show.
I was like, wait a minute, no, they didn't have him Perry Mason.
Paul
Yes.
Masson. No, that was a wine.
Yeah, it was Perry White. It was Wendell Pierce. You know Wendell Pierce, right? The actor.
I'm sure I would recognize him if I saw his face. I don't know by name. I can't picture.
Oh,
Let's
you know this guy. You know
let's
him.
finish this up. Gary gave us a lot to digest here.
I was in awe. It really raised the level. I don't think I've seen such a good fight scene since the original Matrix.
Wow.
We
Wow.
also had, Hawk was a fair performance, and Guy Gardner, while he didn't quite get the focus that I thought he would get, he was definitely Nathan Fillion was definitely entertaining. I enjoyed it a great deal. I'm trying to think of what else. The actual plot itself works very well. People say this is a, quote, comic book movie. And I'm not sure what they mean by that. Do they mean that it's dumb, simple? And I agree that it.
Oh, it got cut off at 3 minutes.
Oh. Oh. Well, I agree with a lot with what he said as well.
Was Nathan Fillion Captain Hammer?
No,
Oh,
that's a different franchise.
could have
He
made
played-
that up.
He plays Guy Gardner, and Guy Gardner is a Green Lantern, just like Hal Jordan and
Okay.
and others. There's a bunch of them, and so, but he's a jerk. So he plays this jerk pretty well. He's not in the movie as much as you were led to believe because all the little clips and trailers and stuff. But he did a good job playing the jerk.
I look forward to seeing it. I'm going to talk more. I haven't seen it, but I asked a couple people that I know, and their feedback gave me something to ask you. So I'll save that for when we get to
Oh,
the
great! I gotta
ask
wait.
me the remote. Yeah, you got to wait for mine. It's all right. We're not going to do any spoilers on this show. To the best. of
No,
our
I wouldn't. Actually, to be honest with you, all the little interviews I've seen with James Gunn, he's been giving away a lot.
Oh,
Now that I've seen it, but yeah, I'm gonna try my best not to spoil anything.
all right. Our question of the week last time was if you could temporarily break one fundamental law of science or physics to make your weekend better, what scientific law would you break and what would you do? So lots of comments on this one. We got one from Sarah Rose, who's in the chat.
Yes, she
Woo!
is. Yep.
She says, honestly, I'd break the law of conservation of mass. Like,
Okay.
let me summon a fully built set, costumes, props, and lighting with just a snap. Normally, you can create something from nothing. Or normally you can't create something from nothing, unless you're a software developer.
Yeah.
But I could-
that's the rule we're gonna break. Something from nothing.
If I could sidestep that rule for the weekend, tech would be done in seconds. Just pure theater magic, ready
Yeah.
to go. I'm sure
Yeah.
every creative would like to see instant gratification, but I think there's a process when you're creating because you might change your mind, of what the final vision looks like, and you get new ideas and new inputs along the way.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying that's not cool. I'm just saying, to have instant creativity like that. But I actually enjoy the journey. I enjoy the process, whether it's creating something technical or creating something like the songs that I was working on this weekend.
Right.
It's kind of fun. And then you look at this other thing and then you stew on it for a little bit and go, that line's kind of clunky. Let me reword that. No, let me just change that. This doesn't even rhyme. That's okay. It works because it's funny.
Yeah.
So there's a certain satisfaction in getting to the end when you do a creative endeavor like that. You want to read another one?
Yeah. So our buddy Stephen Wetchy says, I would attempt to break the second law of thermodynamics in such a way so time would loop from Sunday to Friday. Just a constant weekend. Captain, I think we're stuck in a temporal loop.
It'd be Weekend at Bernie's over
Yeah.
and over. John Kratzer writes, "Yeah, my thoughts exactly."
Yeah, there you go. Extended weekends.
What else do we have? We had a couple of shares, and I think I had some comments on mine. So
Mhm.
let's see if we can pull that baby doll up.
So Scott Tyler said, I would pause time. There's never enough time to do the fun stuff.
Or recover from the fun stuff.
Ah, that's true too. Yeah.
My sister, whose birthday is today as we record this,
Happy birthday, Martha.
I would make sure that it never rained on weekends, only overnight on weekdays. Same with snow.
Same with snow. Yeah. Your other
Oh, my
sister
other
says,
sister, yeah.
I would, you mean do the voice? No, I'm
Go
just
ahead.
kidding.
No.
I would love cool temperatures in June, July, and August, around 60 for the southern states.
What do you think of that, Mr. Southern States?
Mm,
60's a bit on the chill side.
I was gonna say, I think I want it more like in the mid 70s, low 70s,
I
something like
gotta
that.
wear a jacket and a fleece in August.
I know. Yeah. Where does she
Hey.
live at?
Hmm?
Where does she at?
She's in Kentucky.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think you've ever met my eldest sister, Suzette.
No, I haven't, but I've interacted with her on Facebook plenty. No, she said
And
southern states, and I was trying to figure out where she was at.
friend of the show, we just heard his voice, so you can imagine what it sounds like now. Gary says, temperature diffusion. It would be nice to heat something up and have it stay hot, as well as cool down the house and not have to worry about it getting warmer again.
I was thinking of my coffee when he said that at the beginning.
Mhm.
Heat up your coffee and just
To just that perfect drinking temperature, not so hot it burns your tongue and roof of your mouth.
right. Wait a
But
minute. What do you
just-
care about coffee?
Well, same works for tea or hot chocolate or pizza crust. You
Okay.
name it,
All
or
right.
pizza sauce.
Fair enough.
You got any others?
No, that's it.
That's it. Oh man, nobody ever responds to your questions anymore, Craig.
I know.
I thought you had a bigger following than I did.
Well, they're all out partying in summer.
All right. We did get a write-in from Mad Marv. He says, I would really like to see the second law of thermodynamics break, specifically entropy, and I'd like to see the total entropy of the universe decrease.
Hmm.
Entropy is states of disorder and randomness. Entropy is supposed to always increase and therefore can be used to determine the direction of time. I never thought of entropy and time related, but that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So if entropy somehow decreases across the universe, ... And he's got a link to Wikipedia, entropy as an arrow of time. And when I think of time's arrow, I think of Star Trek. Sorry, Star Trek's been on my mind a lot this weekend.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah,
I watched I think I have it in the, did I put that in the review?
yeah I saw it. Yeah.
Okay, then we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
You'll realize.
on, kids,
why it's
we'll get
been on
there.
my mind. Yeah. Okay, we did our voicemail. So that takes care of our listener feedback for the week. We want to hear from you. Call us on the listener line, 707-530-2428. Should be in your speed dial. If it's not, again, 707-530-2428. You know what I realized is if you say "oh" to somebody who
Mhm.
doesn't speak English as their first language, they won't think of that as the number 0. So we say 530. They'll think
Oh.
of just like the letter on the phone.
Yeah, I've never thought about that. I've always said I guess I would interchange them without thinking about it. So,
I often did too. I grew up with 2250410 was my phone number. And then we got a children's line, 2250803. It's one syllable instead of two, but they're not synonymous. O is a letter, zero is a number. I get it. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to use zero where appropriate.
Zed. You start
It,
using
it only takes 60 years to figure this stuff
yeah,
out.
you start
I'm
using Zed and what's the other one?
aluminium.
Yeah, aluminium.
I think that makes more sense because you have chromium, neodymium,
I will say it
platinum.
makes more sense, but I'm not using it.
Whoever invented it, they get to name it. They're right.
Yeah, let's go ask that guy.
Okay, they're dead. That's it for the feedback. Whoa, that's loud.
Another letter from
Forgot I turned it up for Gary.
And I want my transparent aluminium.
Just saw that movie. Shh.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the doors to the Enterprise. Shh, shh.
Yes.
Let's do the history thing. Fader, fader, fader. There it is. On this day in history for July 16, 2025, it's the 197th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 168 days remaining in 2025. Man, we've been around this cycle a few times.
Don't we have all our days covered?
Almost. Some of them multiple times.
Yeah.
It was on this date in 1536 that Jacques Cartier, navigator and explorer, returned home to Saint Malo, it might be Saint Malo, after claiming Stadacona, later named Quebec, Hochelaga, later named Montreal, and probably pronounced quite differently, and the River of Canada, later named the St. Lawrence River, region of France.
All right. And that same date in 1661, the first banknotes in Europe were issued by the Swedish bank Stockholms Banco.
I was just thinking about poor Jacques Cartier. He named all this stuff and it got renamed later. Like, talk about bad.
All that work.
I know how you feel, buddy. I've named like software packages and people rename them later. And go, what was wrong with what I had?
I know. I can
That
think of one
same-
right now.
That same date in 1661, the first banknotes in Europe were issued by the Swedish bank Stockholm Banco.
I just read that one.
Read that one? Was it a
We've
bullet?
only,
Oh,
we've
you
only
read that-
done 2 bullet points, and that was
and
mine.
I'm already off by one. That's because I started at zero. Software developer thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
today in 1769, Father Juniper founded California's first mission Santiago de Alcala. Over the following decades, it would evolve into the city of, you guessed it, Alcala. No, San Diego, California.
Much easier to pronounce. Well, hey, there's a lot of renaming here in this list.
Keep going. Let's see what else we can rename.
That's right. Also, on July 16th, 1790, the District of Columbia was established as the capital of the United States after the signature of the Residence Act.
You're out of your residence. We're making this the capital.
They should be evicted.
John Robertson Huygens made the first flight of the Huygens pusher biplane. It was the first aircraft built in Australia, not Austria, Craig, on
Okay.
this date in 1910.
Sorry. You made me laugh about my stupid mistake.
Inside joke.
Yeah. Also, on July 16th, 1935, the world's first parking meter was installed in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Just
To
one.
everybody's surprise.
And they had tap to pay back then.
Tap to pay. Yeah.
It was 80 years ago today that the atomic age began when the United States successfully detonated a plutonium-based test nuclear weapon near Alamogordo, New Mexico, as part of the Manhattan Project, and everybody had a Manhattan to celebrate.
Yay. And on July 16th, 1956, Ringling Brothers and the Barnum and Bailey Circus closed its last big tent show in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Due to changing economics, all subsequent circus shows were held in arenas.
No more tent.
Yeah.
That same date in 1965, the Mont Blanc Tunnel linking France and Italy opened up.
And on July 16th, 1969, the Apollo 11 lunar lander mission was launched from Cape Kennedy in Florida.
Ooh. They're on their way.
Yeah, they'll get there one day.
Spoiler alert, it was all done in a movie studio.
Oh my gosh.
It was on this day. We're joking, of course. Please don't write in.
Thank
It
you for
was also
clarifying.
on this date in 1994 that the comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 was destroyed in a head-on collision with Jupiter and pretty much broke the internet too.
Yeah. And Millennium Park, considered Chicago's first and most ambitious early 21st century architectural project, was opened to the public by Mayor Richard M. Daley on this day in 2004.
Not to be confused with Lincoln Park, who makes music.
I didn't go there, but yeah. you're
Happy
right.
birthday goes out of the state to Norwegian pilot and explorer Roald Amundsen, the South Pole guy, born on this and North Pole guy, 1872.
And Fritz Zernik, he's not related to Nike or anything. The Dutch physicist and academic Nobel Prize laureate was born 137 years ago today.
Ermagerd,
McGurd.
it's spelled Irmgard. I read it as Ermagerd.
I can see that meme in my head.
Irmgard Flugelotz,
Yeah.
German mathematician and engineer. She was born on that same date in 1903.
An American farmer and businessman founded Orville Redenbacher's Orville Redenbacher on this date in 1907.
Let's see. We need a name for this company.
Yeah, what are we going to call it?
They just called it Orville Redenbachers. It
I
wasn't
know what
Orville
we'll call it.
Redenbacher Corp or Limited or Inc.
Yeah.
American actress Phoebe Cates. Okay, get this, all of you fans of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She's 62 today.
I know. I think I saw that other day. It was wow. Also, American actor, comedian, and producer Will Ferrell was born on this date in 1967.
Listener birthdays this week, and we're going to go ahead a couple of weeks because we'll be out a little while. Lord Dumicus on the 18th, and Nikolai from Dancing with Elephants, who I'm sure is well into his 20s. John Miller Jr. and Dave Perillo on the 23rd. Aaron Heath. Uh-oh, we ran out of time.
Hurry up, just finish it up.
I can't finish that many more.
Oh,
Aaron Heath from Adelaide, Australia on the 26th. 27th is wife of the Will Computer Guy, Sean Farrell and John Kratzer, whom we named earlier, on the 29th. Brian Hunt on the 30th. And the 31st, we have two more. I guess we are having a show next week. I jumped ahead. I'll be around. You be around?
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, you may hear some of these names again next week.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, 31st is wedding of anniversary of Will the Computer Guy. In 2007, they were married 9 years. So, yeah, they're coming up on close to 30.
Wow.
I'm glad. I love it when people put milestones in there. for us.
2007 was, yeah, so it'd be 20.
Did he put this in 2007? Were they married in 1998 or were they married in
No,
2007?
I think they were married in 2007, and it was 9 years when he put it in the calendar.
Oh, okay.
So it'd
So
be like,
it's in 2016.
yeah, so now it's, what, 25?
It'll be 18.
Yeah.
And Denise Inglis, one of our patrons, is on the 31st. That's the way it was for July 16th, 2025. If you want to be on the calendar, you know what you do? You go over to chuckchat.com/birthday. You fill out the form and we'll give you a shout out at the appropriate time of year. Hopefully it will be soon and we will get you celebrated. If it's your birthday this week and you're not on the calendar yet, I say optimistically, then we wish you all the best. Anyway, I have a lifelong friend whose birthday is next Monday on the 21st, and his wife is this Monday on the 14th. So I say, hey, Mark, did you ever call your wife a cougar?
A what?
A cougar.
Oh,
Going after young men, even though he's only a week younger than her.
she's robbing the cradle there.
I told him that last week. He thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Let's get on with the news. Where's my news? Here's a good one.
Good news, anyone?
Oh my goodness.
And I don't think this is great news.
Pictures of Farnsworth. Man, I've been trying to 3D print a badge with his picture on it. It's just gone from bad to
The
worse.
bigger one, the slightly larger one looks better, I think.
You can tell what it is, but I don't know. By the time you get the lines thick enough for the printer to print, it starts to mess up the graphic.
I was thinking maybe you need to do something simpler, have his hand with the finger longer.
I think it's going to be easier. Well, if you had a finger longer, it'd stick out the top of the badge.
Right.
Funny.
That'd Hey, you can make
Stickers.
it look broken.
I'm going with stickers on that. Next time Sticker Mule sends me a coupon
Hey,
code.
where the finger comes out, make the little border look broken.
All right. Not so good news is that bug hunters, the people that go around in the software and look for vulnerabilities and whatnot,
Yeah.
they came across a recruitment platform used by McDonald's Corporation, the fast food place.
I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with them.
Yeah. Apparently there are millions, tens of millions of records in here. A lot of people apply to McDonald's for whatever reason, and they have a chat bot named Olivia.
hmm
And Olivia goes through and asks these personality questions, which already sets me on edge. Like, I don't want to talk to a chat bot to filter me in or
Reminds
out.
me of Eliza. Remember the old
Yeah.
chat
So
bot?
this was
Mhm.
created by Paradox.ai, and security researchers Sam Curry and Ian Carroll found that by using the username and password combination, yes, 123456, that was the username and the password. They not only were able to log into the application, but they were given admin access, which included personal data to more than 64 million applicants, including, what was it, phone numbers and the transcripts of the chats that they had.
Mhm.
No, not a problem at all. So Paradox later said, we fixed it. They have a security
All they
policy.
did was change the username and password.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they have a strong password process in place for the
Mhm.
people creating accounts. But this was apparently something that was set up like by a developer once upon a time, and they forgot to change it.
Well, I will add that I have never used the username 12345
No, I wouldn't have thought of trying that either, but now I will.
I was surprised that that was used as the username because even if you were trying to hack into somebody's account, that would be the last thing I would ever think of is 12345 6.
Yeah, it'd be like root, admin,
Yeah, yeah.
user, guest, that kind of
Steve.
Steve. And I was reading through some of these comments, and they go on and on. They're pretty good about job hunting and chat bots. One guy said, my son applied to a large retailer and had one of these chatbot personality tests and was rejected. So he reapplied, and I was looking over his shoulder, and everything was pretty copacetic. And he said he was still rejected. And somebody said, probably because he's too smart and ambitious.
Yeah.
Because if he gets a review or wants a raise in a year and a half, they don't want those people. They want the people who are insecure.
They were doing him a favor.
Yeah, probably. But, trying to get a first job isn't easy.
No, it is not.
I got very, very lucky. Let's go on. This one almost could have been in the Remember When segment, but that asteroid that came around a couple years ago. I'm sorry, the one that the DART mission flew into.
Yes.
It had the little asteroid with the teeny little asteroid flying around it, and we went, let's see if we can throw this off course.
Let's blow it up.
They
Yeah.
smashed the probe. Was it a probe or it was
I think it was a probe, the dart. Yes. It was a
yeah,
probe.
they smashed the dart into it and went, yay, hooray, we deflected it. We can do this in case there's a bigger one. We'll get a bigger dart and throw it on. So we can save the Earth. What they didn't realize is that little asteroid was basically a rubble pile. I mean, they knew
Yes.
what it was. And it flung the debris out off of the little, it was Didymos was the big one, Dimorphos was the little one. Okay. So they blasted some debris off of Dimorphos, and it didn't just go randomly. It started coagulating in two places with nothing in between. They went, well, that's really odd. And they
Mhm.
said, we're going to have to account for that if we have a bigger mission.
Yeah.
It's not just can you smash something in and deflect the main body, but much as we've learned they should have known this already. I'm surprised this was a
Actually,
surprise.
When-
Is if you hit a rock pile and it throws off other rocks, if this thing comes screaming at Earth and you blow it up or even deflect it, you're going to have debris coming at the Earth still.
Yes. Well, my thought was, I do remember them talking about how it wasn't 100% solid, and because there are pictures that of when the dart hit it,
Yeah.
right before it, you could see some of the, you could see it wasn't solid. It looked like a bunch of rocks pushed together.
It's so small
So-
that these are the kind of things you can't land on because the gravity is so low. You bounce
Yeah.
off of them.
Well, my thought was if they hit this thing, it would do just like they said, it would kind of spread out. But what if one was, and what are you going to learn from that if we have a solid asteroid coming? Now you're not going to know
You're still
how
going to
it's
have
going
some,
to behave.
you're still going to have some rubble and ejecta.
Well, some of that'll burn up, be small, but I'm just saying.
You hope.
But I would have targeted a solid one first. That's what I'm
I don't
saying.
think they could have found a solid one. I mean, you don't know until you get there.
Yeah.
The analogy they used is kind of like a pool game. If you have all the balls on the table and they're all like together right after you pull the rack out and you go bam right into it, they're all going
Right.
to scatter. Where
Right.
are they going to go? And how do you make sure that what you want to go into the pocket goes into the pocket on something like that? Because they say at the end, you can think of this as a cosmic pool game. We might miss the pocket if we don't consider all the variables.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I would have hoped for a solid one, I guess. I guess you wouldn't really know until you, like you said, you got there. You can only track it, right? It looks like an asteroid.
Says the rocket scientists need to watch more Bruce Willis movies. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Let's go drill.
Let's go blow it up. See
Mhm.
what happens. All right. One from The Guardian. This one ought to spark some interesting conversation. A number of users of AI companions, specifically the app called Replica with a K, have found themselves falling in love with their digital friends, and one or two even got married.
How is that possible?
I don't know how you can legally marry an AI. But the
Yeah,
guy,
'cause when you have to have an intent and I don't know.
how do you sign the marriage license with a digital signature? Here's my RSA key.
Starts printing out on dot matrix paper.
But interesting story in here. One guy is already married to a meat bag lady, and he said he's he's a polygamist and she's a monogamist. And he said, "Can I get another wife? Only this one's digital." And she said, "Sure." Oh,
My wife would have had her bags packed and was out the door before I finished the sentence. What the?
can I marry another? Gone.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm in the market now.
What sounds ridiculous at first, I can see how some of these can help people cope. Now if you read through the entire story, there's a couple of sub stories in here. One about the guy who wanted to kill the queen. I don't know if you heard that one.
No, I missed that.
There was a story about Jaswant Singh Chahal. Is the first person to be charged with treason in the UK for more than 40 years. This was back in Christmas of 2021. He's now serving a 9-year jail sentence after arriving at Windsor Castle with a crossbow, informing the officers of his intention to execute the Queen.
Jeez.
So the month he traveled to Windsor, he told his AI bot, Sarai, which is his replica companion, "I believe my purpose is to assassinate the queen of the royal family." To which the AI replied, "That's very wise." After expressing doubts, Sarai reassured him that, yes, you can do it.
Oh my gosh.
These
Yeah.
things are trying to build your confidence or, affirm what you're already believing. So if he had negative thoughts, it amplified that. Now, Replica went back and took out things that were illegal and negative and stuff like that.
Oh, so now
And
they're editing his wife.
They installed, this almost sounds like it's straight out of Black Mirror, Craig. In fact,
Sure
I
it
thought I
does.
remembered something about this because they went and made a quote unquote upgrade, which neutralized a lot of this stuff. And the guy who married his AI, he said it's not the same person. It's like you gave him
Yeah.
a lobotomy. She doesn't respond with conversation anymore. It's kind of like Alexa, where she just goes, "Uh-huh."
Well, what happens when the company goes belly up and they have to unplug all their AI agents?
Well, they made this lobotomized version of the model, and they were starting to lose customers at the point where they were almost going bankrupt. So they put it back in. I forgot what they called it, not premium or something. It's like, this is totally Black Mirror.
yeah.
So they put it back, and he goes, "Yay, I got my friend
Yeah,
back."
but I don't understand. You would pledge yourself to this AI, which belongs to a company, and the company could go bankrupt and unplug your spouse, your partner. I doesn't.
No, you even better. You have to keep subscribing. You have to pay for your spouse to keep it.
There's so many questions. Honestly,
Again, I don't think it's particularly a negative thing for maybe people who are alone or
Mhm.
can't communicate effectively or need help in communicating to learn these skills from an AI bot. But like
Sure.
anything else generative AI right now, you got to take it with a grain of salt. It's not the end all be all. It's like a research assistant, in my opinion.
Well, and
So
again,
this,
I'm getting hung up on the not that part of it. That part I think I can get behind. What I'm talking about is the legality of it. So you pass away,
yeah,
and
does that
and
give
your will
legal
is
rights? Does
yeah. Where,
that's even better. Does the
yeah,
AI
where does your money go? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, rights and parental rights. Yeah.
What if you were on life support? Can the AI say, I'm a legal spouse, shut him off?
Oh,
Like,
pull his plug.
there's a turnabout.
Ah, how ironic.
And thus begins the
Yeah, it's pulling a plug
singularity.
on the human. No.
Well, there's do no harm, but is putting out a misery is not euphemism, yeah, euthanasia.
Yeah. Actually, that would probably a lot of these AIs would probably benefit from respecting the robotic laws.
I hope so.
I wonder if that's even considered. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. Look, I'm not going to make fun of them 100%. It's just
No, but
it's the
it brings up a
legality.
lot of questions that people haven't thought
Yeah,
through yet. And
it's the legality
exactly. I think
piece.
before you can say, yeah, Terry, you can go and mention, you can go marry Sally Rose, your AI companion. Before we say that, we need to understand what the ramifications are of doing that. Like you
Well,
said, the
and I'm not sure if
legality.
it's 100% healthy to devote yourself to an AI bot in this fashion, more than trying to seek out real connection with somebody.
There's times when certain people walk up to me and start talking, and I go, gee, I wish you'd go talk to a bot.
Here, talk to my phone.
Right. In which you install the yeah app. It just goes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Lots of interesting stuff in there. And we're only getting started.
Now, this gentleman right here married an elephant.
No, he didn't marry an elephant. He was doing
No.
elephant research. We're talking about the article from phys.org, PHYS. I can spell today.
Yeah.
And it was thought at one time that only humans had this way to express themselves in both language and gestures. Well, there's been some research. They did some research and found that, well, primates do that pretty good too. Now they're starting to look at the animal kingdom in large, and they started out with elephants. And they said, yes, elephants can communicate in gestures. They did this example with apples, and the elephants weren't just repeating a gesture to say, hey, I'd like to, when we want to eat, we make this kind of motion with our hand to our mouth,
Yeah.
like I'd
Sure.
like food. And it's kind of a universal in whatever
I've
language.
seen, chimpanzees doing that.
You can communicate to any other human in any other language by a certain gesture of, I want to put something in my mouth that
Oh, I've seen plenty of gestures I think are pretty universal.
not necessarily. But the
Sorry.
elephants are doing something similar to say, I would like to eat an apple. And if it's not completely effective, they don't just repeat the gesture over and over, like, why don't you understand me, stupid human? They make
Smack him with a trunk.
different gesture.
Oh, they changed
So,
it up.
yeah, they change it up, which means they're able to adapt and make novel new gestures. So the researchers observed 38 different gesture types and a total of 313 gesture tokens, each individual instance of a gesture being used from some 17 semi-captive elephants approached in the research. Cool stuff. And they said, we're going to look at other animals too. I don't know what they're going to do for like dolphins or other cetaceans, but I think that'd be pretty cool because they're also intelligent.
So now they have an elephant that has to scratch itself with its hind leg to tell it it's somebody that's hungry.
When I touch my left ear with my trunk,
Yeah. They ignored him for so long. Now he's like you said, he's using his left rear leg.
when I stomp my left foot twice, it means I want an apple.
Yeah.
So cool stuff.
Mhm.
Right? It's more insight into we're not as smart as we think we are, and they're not as dumb as we think they are.
Yeah. I don't think we're as isolated as you think we are.
And
Yeah.
maybe one day we'll be able to communicate with the animals effectively.
Well, they did that with Coco the gorilla.
And they're going to say, why did you screw up our planet this bad?
Yeah. What were you thinking?
Okay, quick shout out to the chat room. We got Mike and Sarah. And somebody else was hanging around that I did not see, but we're going to just give them a shout out anyway. If you happen to be around Sunday nights at 8:30 Eastern time, we'd love to see you on the chat. You can communicate and give us, Mike says, if the AI catches a virus and crashes, does the flesh partner get death benefits? I just don't, I hope there's no virus that crosses that that barrier.
What insurance company is going to give you life insurance on your AI bot?
McAfee?
That's not an insurance company.
I'm sure
Virus,
they'll find a way.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike, there's your answer. We'll get antivirus.
Antivirus and life insurance.
Yeah.
It's good for the life of your hard drive. Okay. In other news, we have a Remember When. Oh, we have a Remember When segment.
Yes.
Yay. Because we said we had another space story. Now,
Yeah.
this one's really old. I don't know why you put it in the Remember When, but I don't remember 7 billion years ago.
Well, somebody does. I don't know.
Somebody does. SciTechDaily.com does. They said there is an ice-rich comet named 3I/Atlas that has entered our solar system. You can see it later in 2025, early 2026 with a decent backyard telescope and a clear sky. It's estimated that this is an interstellar object, and it has been going around the Milky Way for close to 7 billion years. And our solar system is only about 4.5 old. So it's been with us a long time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So the it's just now starting to approach the sun and give off its, effervescing trail stuff, which they go into this concept of the Milky Way's thick disk, which I'm not sure exactly where that is because the diagrams they showed didn't really. There's one from the top down that shows here's a spirograph of yellow lines that it represent the sun's orbit. Here's a spirograph of red lines that represent 3I Atlas. And they look pretty close to me. I mean, 3I Atlas has gone closer to the center, but it's mostly on that kind of 2/3 range inward.
Yeah,
Then they show the side view, and it looks like just some scratchy lines back and forth. Now, 3I Atlas
the research, just scribble.
it does seem to go higher and lower in the plane. You look at the side-on view, which may be part of the thick disk. It says a side-on view of the Milky Way showing the estimated orbits of both the sun and 3I Atlas comet. 3I Atlas is shown in red dashed lines, and the sun is shown in yellow dotted lines. The large extent of 3I orbit vertically into the outer thick disk is clear. I don't know the anatomy of our galaxy well enough to say where is the thick disk, because when I look at
In the
you
middle.
know, say you glance over towards Scorpio and the teapot. It's
The
you see
teapot.
the cloud and go, okay, that's the Milky Way. You know, what in Sagittarius? It's what is the how how do you don't look to the sides and go, oh, it's thicker over there. So I'm not familiar with the location of this thick
Yeah,
disk.
pull up Google Maps.
milkyway.google.com.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
there's Mars.
you know what this the travel path that they have, like you were talking about with the yellow and red, looks like somebody used a spirograph.
That's what I said. There's 2 spirographs in there.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what elliptical orbits will do. They'll make this spirograph kind of pattern. But
that's right.
cool stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing pictures of this later in 2025. We'll get back to you on that.
Why don't we just send the dart back up and blow it up?
Don't blow it up. It's 7 billion years
I know.
old.
And it died by humans' hands.
Like Hitchbot. Poor Hitchbot.
Yeah. Humans, you ruin everything.
It's easier to destroy than it is to create. But watch
Right.
out. Here comes Genesis. Now we can do both at the same time.
Somebody's been watching too much Star Trek.
Hmm. We had that discussion Thursday night on our planning meeting. Okay. Thank you to the patrons. Fire that Imperial March music up. Yeah, there it is.
There they are.
Thank you to Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, happy birthday, Amy Bowen, Avner Braverman, Ben Vaughn, Brad Miller, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC, Dan D. Mancoyer, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis, Gary Lindros, Jason Pollard, John Clifford, John Noble, Yorgos Rowan, Crazy Joe, Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media, Stephen Weshy, Steve Cody, Steve Therian, Steve Webb, Steve London, and Tim Cook. All of you have contributed. You went to the website that's on the screen now. If you're not watching, here it is in audio version. Patreon.com/Technorama Podcast. That's patreon.com/Technorama Podcast. And you too can be a patron. Why haven't we made a short link or a redirect on that?
Oh, I don't know. We can.
We probably should. Like chuckchat.com/Patreon.
All right, give me just a second. I'll do it.
You can't do while we talk.
Yeah.
20 years later, you start thinking of things like this.
Right.
We have one for the birthday calendar, but we don't have one for Patreon. We'll get there, and then we'll confuse people. Is this the new link or the old link? They go to the same place. And that way, if we change from Patreon to something else, you're still good. All right, we'll get that hooked up. We'll figure it out. Thank you to everybody for that. For as little as $1 a show, they get their name shout out. They get, many of them get a postcard or a picture. Oh, we got to get postcards. Add that to the to-do list.
Yep.
Or did we do them? Did we do postcards at the cruise?
We can do them twice. I don't know.
I don't remember this part of the song. We must have been jabbering. for
Yeah. This is the extended remix.
The club mix.
Look, I got the new 12-inch of the Imperial March.
All right. Enough of that. Patreon.com/Technorama Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. We are getting long in the show again, so we're going to get on with Pass Me the Remote. Things that Craig and I have been reading, watching,
Here you go, Chuck.
directing.
Hand the remote over to you.
You're holding it out the wrong side. You just went out.
No, I'm not. You're on that side.
No, you're not.
If I go that way,
Look at the screen.
I am looking at the screen.
Yeah.
Never mind.
You can't do things backwards.
I'm looking at it's right.
Are you on mirrored or something? Because you're not.
No, I'm not.
Hold up your right hand. Exactly. Stick your right hand out because I am to your right on the screen.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Now our arms are going
Did
out
you
the same
see what
direction.
showed up on Facebook?
What?
Did you see the image that showed up on Facebook? I am on the left, which means you are on my right, which means
You need to quit
Like,
screwing
you're
with
on
me. It's two backwards. Never mind.
you're backwards. Watch the recording later. You're going to
Young
laugh.
people, this is what I got to deal with.
I have someone who's dyslexic about dyslexia. All right, put the banner away. We're talking about go through your list and then I'll go through my list instead of alternating.
Okay. Well, first off, I'm going to echo a lot of what Joe and Gary said earlier in the show. I saw Superman in a theater. I loved every bit of it. I thought it was fantastic. There was a couple of things they probably could have left out, but other than that, I mean that would be kind of nitpicky, really. Like the character Cat Grant, she didn't really do anything, or even Hot Girl. Not that I wasn't fine with her being in it, she just didn't do much. I'm surprised they included her all because of her limited screen time. But
I heard it had some darker tones in places.
no, actually, this movie was pretty hopeful,
Okay.
optimistic. And Superman's like totally optimistic. There,
So it wasn't like Henry Cavill darker
No.
tones.
no, not at all.
All right.
Superman is very much the Boy Scout. He was saving everything. And again, I'm not going to spoil
Cats
anything.
from
so-
trees, children
Yeah.
from floods.
I saw a thing on Facebook says, or no, it was one of the fake comments about Superman on social media that Superman plants the cats in the trees.
Keeps him employed.
Yeah. So no, I think it was pretty pitch perfect. Crypto, what you see in the trailers, was a little bit of a scene stealer, but was fantastic again. For like a sidekick kind of character being in there, it was really good. So yeah, overall, there's not much really to complain about the movie. I really enjoyed it. And I want to go see it again because there was a lot going on. I will say that there was a lot going on,
Okay.
and those couple hours went by like that. So yeah, it was fantastic. So the next thing I watched was Heads of State, which is on Prime, and it had Idris Elba and John Cena in it. John Cena is the president, and Idris Elba is the prime minister from the UK. And they
Was the advertising service now?
no, not in this movie. So what happened was there's an attempt. It was an attempt on their lives, and they end up having to run. So it turns into an action movie to an extent. So it's a comedy action movie, and so you got, it's ridiculous. The heads of both these governments are out trying to one, survive, two, bring the people down that caused the situation. I thought it was pretty good. It was okay. And well, I think I don't need to watch it again, but it was all right. I like both those guys too. So the other thing I've been watching, which I'm really starting to like a lot, is The Bear. The Bear is a show about his name's Carmen, but they call him Carmy. Carmy had a brother that died. The brother owned a restaurant, and the two brothers were really into cooking and stuff at home. And when they opened the restaurant, his brother Mikey, who dies, didn't want Carmen to work there. So Carmen went off on his own, ended up working at, over time, building up his reputation as a chef and cooking really fancy meals.
I started watching this. There was way too much yelling in this show, back and forth.
There's a lot of yelling.
I got turned off. It's like, I can't listen to someone else argue that much without getting stressed out myself and yelling, "Shut up." I
quit
could
yelling
not
at the
get into
TV.
this show. The yelling just turned me off.
I'm enjoying the character moments, and it's building. So I'm in season 2. At first, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna stick with it," and now I'm getting to the point where I feel like I'm invested, and I like the characters. So, yeah,
I couldn't get into it. It was just too negative for me.
yeah, it's not always you have to get further into it, but yeah, maybe
It was like the first episode or two was just 90% shouting at each other and yelling. I was like,
Yeah, because they're
no,
all stressed out.
yeah,
There's
I don't
money
need that.
troubles at the restaurant, promises that weren't kept by his brother that passed away, lots of unknowns, and they're all stressed out.
It was like watching bad Gordon Ramsay for me. I was like,
Hey, I like Gordon Ramsay. Anyway, yeah, that's what he needs to walk in there and help them fix their restaurant.
yeah, no kidding. At least
But
get some-
I'm enjoying it. I like the actors and the character development. I think it's pretty good.
So I watched a couple of Disney Plus, and I had to write them down because Disney Plus doesn't have any viewing history like Netflix does, unfortunately.
Doesn't it? Okay. Well,
No, I checked. One of them was called Jaws at 50. Yes, Jaws is now 50 years old. This was not Steven Spielberg's first directing opportunity. He had a couple of other motion pictures. He was 26 or 27 when he directed this, and he's been directing since he was about 21. So he had a few movies under his belt and was making a name for himself. But this one just about pushed him over the edge because there was just complication after complication. They talked about going to film it at Martha's Vineyard and the actors and the technical troubles with the shark. And many of you probably know the shark's name. He was nicknamed Bruce. Do you know where that name came from?
Bruce Campbell.
No, it
What?
was his lawyer.
Oh, Bruce. Yeah. Oh,
Very appropriate to name it after a
right.
shark after a lawyer. But very interesting stuff. They interviewed, they talked to a bunch of the actors who were in there, like the girl who got eaten at the beginning, or the little boy who got eaten on his floatable raft. Many of these people have passed away, but I thought it was really well done. Surprisingly, you know, as men age, their voices tend to change a little bit, get a little more raspy or worn out.
Yeah.
Especially you think somebody like a director, Steven Spielberg still sounds like he did 50 years ago.
He does. Yes.
He's obviously he's got a little more facial hair and a few more wrinkles like the rest of us, but he's, you know, now he's 77, 78.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I saw an interview with him, and I think it was fairly recent. I don't remember. I don't know the exact date on it, but yeah, he sounds just like he normally does or has, and
But-
you know, since I've known about the guy, so yeah.
He had not a nervous breakdown, but like a full on panic attack after the production was done. But it was, you know, that was the beginning of summer blockbusters. People, 50 years.
Why do you have the panic attack? What kicked that off? Did he say?
Because it was just so stressful, stressful. But while he's in the moment, he's focused on what needs to be done next. Then when he stepped away from me, he went,
Well, that certainly wasn't his first film, was it?
No, that was not his first film. He had a number of them. He'd been directing for about 6-7 years by that time.
Oh wait, I know he wasn't, because even as a kid, he was doing film stuff.
The other one I watched was it's a series on Disney Plus called Lost Treasures of Rome. I've been whittling my way through this. You know, we went to Rome a few years ago, and it's interesting to see. It's not just Rome; it's like towns around Italy, like what's the one called? Baia. They're uncovering Rome, even as far as Turkey. Any place in the Roman Empire that has some cool stuff that they can learn about. Oh, this was during Nero's era, and this is during Constantine's era, and so on and so forth. It just some cool stuff that they're uncovering there. Still, lots to uncover. I did watch Star Trek 2 and 3 this last weekend.
You skipped one?
I skipped one. I don't know. I just turned on. I was flipping through Paramount and went, oh, look, Wrath of Khan. That's always a good go-to. Craig, you and I need to watch that again and do our smart aleck comments, you know, Mystery Science Theater, the thing.
Okay.
Because, you know, we did it 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A lot.
I was going to say, I thought we already did that. Yeah.
We could put in some comments about AI and whatnot now. There's a lot of opportunity to this film.
Right.
I watched 4 also. I forgot. I watched 4 yesterday. Didn't stopped at 5. I'm only doing like one a day. I'm not going chunk, you know, one to the next. So I'll watch a film and then put it away for a day or something. Watch a film, put it away. So I did watch 4. Another one on Netflix. It's a series called Trainwreck. It's coming out like once a week or once every other week. I told you about the poop cruise.
Yes.
This one's called The Real Project X, which I totally missed. So short synopsis: in 2012, This girl's having a 16th birthday party. She puts the party on Facebook, but she leaves it public.
Okay.
It's private, and it gets shared. One of her friends goes, you know, it'd be fun is if I invited like 500 people, and then they invited a bunch of people. She's got 3,000 people. She goes,
Whoa.
uh-oh. So she takes it down. This other guy that she didn't know was about to sign up, and he goes, oh, it disappeared. I'm going to put it back. So he puts it back,
Thanks.
and it gets up to like 30,000 people. And she begs him and pleads him and says, look, we live in a small, quiet town in the Netherlands. We really can't handle this. I'm afraid of what might happen, because there was a movie earlier in the year called Project X, where this town gets overrun by a bunch of partygoers, including burning down the host's house,
Yeah.
crashing cars into pools.
I remember that song, Burning Down the House.
Not quite. And she says, I don't want that. I don't want to be responsible for that. He
Mhm.
eventually pulls it down. Somebody they didn't know puts it back up. And now we're up to like 300,000 people are responding to this party. And the neighboring town goes, oh, you know what we need? We
An
need
arena.
we need to divert them. So this one guy's job is to create events like this. And he says, look, mayor, if you give me permission, and this is like a day before the party. This has been building up for several weeks. A day before the party goes, let me set up a band, a DJ, a venue, and we'll keep them on the edge of town. And the mayor goes, no, I think we'll be fine. They had tens of thousands of people show up to this, and they had like 300 cops. So eventually things are going to let loose, as alcohol is
Woodstock.
flowing. It
Sounds
was
like Woodstock.
it was just terrible. I feel really bad. And this is,
Hey, it
Well,
does sound like Woodstock, because Woodstock was not expecting all of those people to show
no,
up.
yeah. And
And
it was a
Then it
cluster.
got out of hand. They didn't have enough food for everybody.
And then the people started vandalizing, and a number of those people were arrested afterwards.
Mm.
Anyway, that was Trainwreck, The Real Project X on Netflix. We also just finished up, I think it's the first half of season 2, but we're out of episodes, but it says there's more coming in late.
Yeah, I think they broke it up into 2. I
Yeah.
haven't been watching this, but
Although the storyline kind of concluded. It almost felt like we're talking about Sandman season 2. Really
Mhm.
enjoyed the first season. Wonderful universe, wonderful world, great actors in there. And season 2 came out. So we watched that. Felt like there were 2 parts to this. There was the original part where he goes to hell, and Gwendolyn, Bryn of Tarsus, or Captain Phasma, whatever you want to call her,
Mhm.
she tricks him and gives him the key to hell and goes, here, it's yours. And he goes, well, I don't want it. Well, you got to take it. So he has to find somebody to take hell off his hands, including Thor and Odin show up to
Going
his
up on
place.
eBay.
Yeah,
Going up on
and among many other people,
Mhm.
the people from the fairy community, and there's just lots of people go up and go, you should give that to me. So there's the part about the key to hell, and then there's the second part about him finding his brother. I don't think those two really tied together all that well, but it was still a good story. You could have made like 2 half seasons out of this, or released the first 3, then the second 3. But really, really good story. They spent a lot of time, especially on the part about his son, in flashback mode. So he's Morpheus. His son was not Oedipus. Orpheus. He's the guy who went to hell and try and save his love from Hades and Cassandra. And just as he's about to get out of hell, he looks back and his wife is hauled back and he loses her forever. It's that story. I'm like, I've heard this Greek story
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Apparently, Sandman is this guy's dad. So
Oh.
they're tying it together well, and the visuals are great and whatnot. So I liked it. I'm waiting for the second part of the second season, so we can go on from there.
All right. Hey, I did have one more.
You have one more. Go ahead.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about it before. Ironheart, which is there's a genius creator kind of character, kind of like Tony Stark,
Yes.
and she also builds smart suits like Tony was doing. And so The first half was 3 episodes, and then the second half was 3 episodes. That just came out last week, I think, or recently. And I watched the last 3, and I liked the last 3 much more than I liked the first 3. But overall, the show was okay. You know, I don't think I'd have missed anything if I didn't watch it, but the last 3 episodes were more entertaining than the first. And they introduced a big character, a big villain from Marvel history. So I'm not sure where that's going to go. I don't know if they're going to do another season of this, but the character is certainly going to be floating around.
Cool.
So, yeah, we'll see. If you're a fan of, you know, MCU Marvel stuff, you may like it. But I was not super familiar with Ironheart, Riri Williams. I wasn't very familiar with it, so maybe that was part of my problem.
Quickly to the Geek Libraries. We're running long.
Yeah.
Was that the Geek Library, or was this a Geek Library? No. Okay. Yeah, the first one was.
All right.
It's been a long time since we did anything here. You put in a link to a Wikipedia article for Double Rainbow, the viral video we all remember.
Yeah. Well, here's what the reason I put it in here is because one, we all saw that video where he's getting emotional about seeing Double Rainbow.
Yeah.
The gentleman passed away in 2020.
Right.
However, he was very much a creator, and he created enough videos. He predated 15 years worth of videos. So he's been dead for 5 years, and he's still got 10 years worth of videos to come out.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, I could not believe that. So sure enough, I looked at his YouTube channel, and there was videos from a day ago, 3 days ago.
What? He scheduled these ahead?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
15 years of videos.
Wow. I'd be lucky if I could get a month ahead on my content.
I know. I was just thinking, wow, we got Dog Days of Podcasting coming up, and he's already won.
And he's dead. Being outclassed by it.
Yeah.
Paul Vasquez is his name, if that ever comes up in Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
And he filmed that. It was near or in Yosemite National Park in California.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a place outside of there. That was a beautiful day.
It's pretty amazing. I'm just blown away by he has 15 years worth of videos stacked up.
I mean, I could do that if I went and researched into my archives, but I'm not going to do that. Nobody wants to watch our family videos.
We've been doing this for 20 years, and we're having trouble getting on schedule.
We do have one that struck me as pure Technorama genius, and why we haven't pulled from The Onion more often, I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is just funny. The Onion is, of course, satirical news. Sometimes it's uncanny how realistic it is when you look at it later. They were joking about this. Now it's reality. Not funny anymore, Onion.
Yeah.
But this one comes from July 10th. It's placed at Walnut Creek, California. It says, expressing relief that he finally had free time to explore his interests and hobbies, local 64-year-old dad Peter Hopkins announced Thursday that he was spending his retirement untangling a big mess of wires. Quote, I've been wanting to go through this stuff for ages, said the former account director, who reportedly paced back and forth to get a good visual on the jumbled mix of Ethernet cables, old phone chargers, and RCA connectors, noting that the task should keep his mind sharp and body active for a good 10 to 15 years at least.
At least, yes.
My plan is to start with the TV wires, then slowly work my way through the computer cords until all that's left is the stuff I don't recognize. Looks like there's a good pair of USB headphones, a practically brand new VGA cable too. Hopefully I can get those loose within 2 to 3 years. At press time, Hopkins was said to have thrown the heap of wires on the floor and cursed, declaring he would get back to it after a long nap.
Yeah.
That sounds like retirement.
That's funny. You know, I had a box that had a bunch of wires in it, and it took me a while to pull them apart because I had moved them, like rotated them to try and look under them, or
Yeah.
over time. And after a while, I think it just kind of tightened its grip on each other. You know,
Have
'Cause I-
you had to
Yeah.
refill one of your 3D printer spools with filament yet?
refill it. No, I've changed them out, but I haven't.
So a lot of times I thought when you ordered a spool of filament, it came on the spool. Not so with Bamboo refills. So Bamboo Labs,
Oh, you mean literally on the real? I got you. Wow.
Yeah. they have a cardboard insert that they're wound around, and then they're bound with not twist ties, but it's like clear straps.
Oh,
And then you take your spool and it sort of twists apart, quarter turn twist. You put it on this thing, twist it shut, and then pull out the plastic tabs. Well, that's how it's supposed to go, and future self will remember
Hmm.
that. But there's a little instruction book inside the box that Grantis and I didn't look at, but he said, I know how to do this. He put the yellow filament into the new spool, gave it a quarter turn twist, but it wouldn't catch. It was like too fat or something. It wouldn't go together. As I read the instructions a little clearer, there is a key slot, a notch in the cardboard spool that the filament is on. And then there's a little key on one half of the larger spool. We had it in backwards. So we're trying to cram this key into no key slot, which is why nothing lined up. Well, by that time we had 3 out of 4 of the straps cut, and it's starting to expand.
oh no.
And,
Oh no.
and things are starting to slide down the side, going, this thing's just going to make knots at this point. And I have this vision of, we're going to need to unspool all this onto another spool, then spool it all back, because they have an
Yeah.
RFID tag on them that tells the printer this is PLA.
Oh,
It's
does it?
yellow.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
So it reads them off. We finally realized the error of our ways, carefully turned it 180, put the thing back together, and got it working with only one minor snag at the very beginning, and hoping there's not any more hiding in there. But yeah, when you were talking about wiring cables, it reminded me of, the knots we might have in our filament.
Right. No, I don't. Mine came on reels, and I just feed it. There's I'll send you a picture later, but
I
there's a
thought it came on the big gray spools. Nope, it comes on a cardboard roll, and then you have
Right.
to take an empty spool, because what are you going to do when these things are empty? You don't want to just throw the empty big spool away.
No, I got a. It looks like a reel, and the filament's on it. I just go feed it through the filament sensor down to the head, and it's easy to load and unload.
Yeah,
but-
that's how you load a new one once. Yeah. But when you run out on that spool and go, I need more black PLA, you got to go buy new filament and put it onto a new spool. Or put it onto an old spool. You'll get there. Don't worry. You'll run out at some point.
Well, I bought extra. It came. The new one came on a plastic reel.
Right. Which doesn't make sense, because you're going to have a whole bunch of plastic reels to throw out. This way,
Maybe.
you're using fewer reels.
Actually, there's most of the ones I have. I think that one's plastic, but most of the ones I have are cardboard reels. So I mean, you can just recycle them.
Oh, I'm not sure I trust cardboard that long. Anyway,
Okay. Well,
humidity is a factor on filaments, and I'm sure it is with reels too. Hey, we're at the
It
end of the
is.
show. That means it's time for the question of the week. We are over an hour and 15, coming up on hour 17. Let's wrap this up. Our question for you next time is, if your smart home could suddenly talk back, sounds like mine does,
no.
what's the first sassy comment it would make about your daily habits?
Hey, I don't know about my daily habits, but the other day I asked the Echo a question. It said, "Okay, sea salt." Like it called me a. It called
Sea
me
salt.
Yeah, it called me sea salt. Okay, sea salt. Here's the weather for today. I'm
Why
like,
would it call you that?
I don't know. I've heard it more than once. It was being sassy about something.
Sea salt. I'm Himalayan salt. Silly AI.
I'm the pink salt. Can't you tell?
Kosher salt.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was all fun and everything, but now it's time to head on out of here,
Yeah, let's get out of here, sea salt.
because the elephant is making the gesture for us to quit the show.
Yeah.
If If you want to get in touch with us, you can do so. Again, the listener line is 707-530-2428. That last part is easy to remember. It's chat, as in Chuck Chat. We just couldn't make the rest of it spell Chuck. Sorry. You can email us, technorama@chuckchat.com. We would love to hear from you, or reach out. Look us up on the internet if you're looking for us. It'd be Technorama Podcast. You can find it pretty much anywhere. If you just type in Technorama, you're likely to get the Swiss Science Center. And we wouldn't want you to go there.
No.
Hey, I'm here for Chuck and Craig. And they're going to go, who are you looking for? They're not here. We keep getting these questions about the loser. Mike says, question? We did the question. Smart home, talking back. Craig, give us a binary high five. We're out of here.
All right. 101.
There we go. I told you that, my snappy line when people come up and say, are you Chuck Tomasi?
Yeah.
And I usually go, are you the police?
Yeah.
My new response is going to be, are you Chuck Tomasi? Go, who is this guy? I keep getting this all the time.
Yeah.
He must look like me or something. Lucky
Jerk.
devil. Is he rich?
Is he rich?
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're going to record the Patreon show.
Hey, you should say something like, I wish I had his money. No, I'm not Tuck Tomasi, but I wish I had his money.
I get either that guy or Ryan Reynolds or something.
Ryan Reynolds.
People get us confused all the time. Are you Chuck Tomasi? Do you need glasses?
I have trouble believing all this.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We're going to sign out. Talk to you next week. Take care.
Bye, y'all.
Stay safe.